Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about one very special person, J.P. DeJoria.
John Paul DeJoria.
But John Paul DeJoria.
Now, when you talk to him, does he prefer to be called John Paul or J.P.? What?
Usually J.P.
J.P., okay.
I know John Paul for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, he is one of the most incredible people that I met.
I don't know him at all. But when I saw him at the school talking to the kids, I said, wait a minute. That's the guy from those shampoo commercials I used to see all the time. The Paul Mitchell guy.
Yep.
But I didn't know anything about him. But now that I know his story, I'm so much more impressed with where he got himself.
Don't tell me. And I'm going to tell you, when I asked him, would you like to come and give interview to students? And he said, yes, I promise a present. He said, no, I need nothing. I'm just going to come and do that. A person who has 165 businesses have found time to talk to kids. How impressive is that? And how important is that? Because his interview, it's not just about nothing. It's how you can change the stars of your own children and make them successful. So these videos that you're going to be watching about J.P. DeJoria, it's not going to be just about nothing. It's how to make your children's future successful. He was twice a homeless person. The first time he was with a baby boy. It's just him and his 2-year-old child.
Wow.
And no car, no nothing. They literally were on the streets.
And he went from living on the streets to a multi-billionaire.
Multi-billionaire.
So if you want to know how to do that, listen to this guy.
Absolutely, 100%. And not only just you. Ask your child to sit and to listen, because that's the key to success.
And I love what he teaches the kids about rejection from other people and not letting other people's opinions of you stop you. But don't listen to me. You're going to listen to JP tell, because he tells it much better than I do.
JP, we love you.
We love you. We respect you. Thank you for visiting and talking to our kids.
Why did you take such big risks when you didn't even know if it would succeed?
Got it. In life, we discover many, many things. I learned many years ago when I was in my early 20s selling encyclopedias door to door. When I would actually go door to door selling encyclopedias. No leads, nobody called me. We're knocking on doors trying to sell books. But I learned there something called overcoming rejection. It's one of the best lessons kids can ever learn in your life. How to overcome rejection. They told me when I sold books that you'll be knocking on doors and that the doors will be closed in your face. But if you are just as happy and enthusiastic on, let's say, if 50 doors were closed in your face, but on door number 51, you were just as excited, just as enthusiastic, and just as happy, you'll eventually succeed. Well, as you know by the film, the average lifespan of an encyclopedia salesman was 3 days. After having 3 days of doors closed in your face, you get discouraged. However, I wasn't discouraged. I believed what they said. So on door number maybe 101, I was just as enthusiastic. So in life, I knew that in doing anything, I'm going to have rejection. If you know in your life you're going to have rejection, what's rejection? Not just people closing doors in your face, but maybe somebody saying you're never going to make it, you're too big, you're too little, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you have no money, you're ugly. Anything people tell you, if you know in life you're going to get rejection, it won't affect you. You will get rejection in many things you do throughout your entire life. That's somebody else's opinion that's rejecting you, not you. Don't let them be part of your life. Move on with your life. So in answer to your question, I knew that no matter what I did, that if I kept on doing it, it was enthusiastic, even though I had a lot of, shall we say, failures along the way, that I would eventually have a heck of a good chance of making it. And that's what really kept me going in those days and still keeps me going today.
Did you enjoy selling encyclopedias?
Did I enjoy selling encyclopedias? Not the first week, because I had no sales. It was commission only. There was no salary, no pay. If I didn't make a sale, there was no pay. In fact, I was trained for 5 days in a training room, a pitch to give to people, how to present it, no pay. So for the first week, I wasn't really enjoying it very much, Alex, not at all. However, what I did enjoy was when I made my first sale, and then it changed things. And then I enjoyed it for many years. Then after a while, I got kind of tired of it. It wasn't a thing for me, and that's when I moved on.
How did you get over the rejection?
I got over the rejection by understanding that and remembering what they told me in training class, learning how to sell encyclopedias. You'll always have rejection. It's the person that doesn't let it get to you that will be successful. That's why many people were not selling anymore after 3 days. They couldn't handle the rejection. It got to them. But I remembered what they said, that you're going to get rejection. The way it is overcome it. Learn from the rejection. Don't pay that much attention to it unless it's something that can help you out. So if somebody says something that makes you upset, ignore them. They're stupid, not you. And they're telling you something from their point of view, not from the world's point of view. So don't let it get to you. Your whole life there'll be rejections from people you work with, from classmates, from your best friends, but don't let it get to you. You always be your own boss. Example, your parents have maybe houses or cars. Now, they maybe own a house or own a car, but they're not the car and they're not the house. They're the person that owns it. You are in human bodies. You are not the body. That's where you're living right now, okay? You are the soul in the body. So don't let it affect you personally. Let your soul be the one that is the answer to that.
What changed that made people start buying your encyclopedias?
Well, what changed was I stayed as enthusiastic all this time, always excited. And every time I would give a presentation to somebody and they said no, I learned what I did wrong. I kept on making my presentation better and better and better. So if ever I failed and didn't get an order, but I had a chance to present somebody in their living room, the presentation, the books, and it failed, I thought about, well, what did I do wrong? How could I do it better? So I had to learn it more and more and more till I fully understood and had more confidence in what I was doing. And people would give me rejection, and then I would think about afterwards, well, why did they reject it, and what could I do next time so they wouldn't reject it? And that's what happened there.
Why did you decide to start an entirely new company instead of going into an already established business?
Good question. I decided to start a company, an already established business of hair care, because I'd been working in that industry for the last 5 years. Actually, it was longer than that, in the industry for about almost 9 years. Then I was working for other companies. And that's when I decided with my partner, it's time to go on our own. I was a businessman. He was a top hairdresser. We were very, very good friends. And I didn't do hair, he didn't do business. And we wanted to get in the hair industry to only sell to hairdressers with products hairdresser would really be able to use and like and renew it. That's what made us decide to go into it.
I know that you got kicked out of like 2 works when you were
Yes.
when you wanted to.
Yes.
And why didn't you just go to this to a company that's already started and start making a lot of money?
Gotcha.
Not getting kicked out every single year or every single month.
That is correct. Well, first of all, I think is why was I fired from companies?
Yeah.
One company that fired me, a very big one that I had a very big job with, fired me because I was complaining that they were testing on animals and didn't have to. I walked past this little room where they were testing on little monkeys called marmosets, and I wanted to take them for a walk after work. And they said, no one can take them out. You have to stay in this room. And the only thing in that room was a window this big, and if you looked out it, you saw the end of a hallway. That was it. And I said, this is wrong. So I went up to the heads of the company, the chairman of the board and the president, and I said, this is wrong. We are making hair care products for humans, not for animals. Why don't we test on ourselves? It doesn't do any good to test on little animals. And they said, because it makes us look good. They were the name of a certain company, I won't mention the name, and they said, we're the scientific approach. I said, yes, but that's a bunch of baloney. That has nothing to do with human hair. They said, it makes us look good. Well, after me complaining a couple of times, they said to me, you're one of our best managers. However, you're not part of the corporate thinking. You got to go along with what the corporate thinks, not what you think is right, but what the company thinks. And they said, you're not our philosophy. You're not a good manager now. So, it's best that we part ways. And we did. Because I believed in what I had and I wasn't about to change.
How did it help you when they fired you from that business?
The way it helped me when they fired me from the first business and my second business, okay, the way it helped out was this. It gave me a chance to say, there must be something meant for me more in life, and that's why this is happening. So in my mind, I knew that, so I moved on. I didn't know it was because I was starting my own business, but I knew there must be some good reason for this to happen in my life, even though I was doing a very good job with the company, and there was. It kind of led to me starting my own business.
Did they ever stop testing on animals?
Yes, but many years later. And one of the things that helped out is when I started John Paul Mitchell Systems, my Paul Mitchell hair care products, we were the first company in the professional hair care industry to ever say, and even put it on every bottle, tested on humans and not on animals. When I first did that, my competitors said, oh, don't buy their products, they're not safe, you have to test on animals. After us proving, almost for 10 years, you don't have to test on animals at all. Others started doing it and stopped testing on animals also. So we were kind of the leader at that, even though people rejected us.
How did you get to the point to making a solar-powered race car?
Very good question. We made a solar-powered race car in 1987 is when we made it. We had a farm, a small farm in Hawaii that my partner and I had bought, and we were talking about solar energy on the farm. And one of our farm workers said to us, there's a solar energy race coming up in 2 years in Australia. Why don't we build a solar energy car? Let's give it a try. So we did build a solar energy car, and we entered in it in the first solar race. This was 1988 in Australia. Australia is a continent. We went from the very top, which was Darwin, and raced straight down the middle. It took a few days to Adelaide. And it was very exciting. In fact, that same solar car we raced in is here in Los Angeles at the Peterson Museum on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. It's now part of the museum.
How fast did the solar-powered car go?
Oh, our top speed on the solar energy car, I believe, was 82 miles an hour.
Wow.
That was pretty quick.
How hard was it to build a solar-powered race car?
It wasn't easy. It took us quite some time, over a year, because we had to learn as we went along, like what the shape should look like, how to connect things up, and where to get the parts from. So it took us over a year to build it, but it turned out it was great fun.
What sparked your interest in joining the Sea Shepherd?
What sparked my interest in the Sea Shepherd was the fact that I thought it was stupid and senseless to kill these beautiful whales just for their meat to serve in sushi bars in Japan. It made no sense to me whatsoever. And then to club these baby harp seals to death, club them to death, right? Just for their white furs. They had white furry furs when they were first born, and they could not get off the icebergs for 2 weeks. They were too weak. Their mom had to feed them. There's no way she could defend them from people clubbing them. And I said, this is wrong. I want to be there. In that 1 week I was on the Sea Shepherd, I was broadcasting with them on the radio throughout all of Canada. And all that time, no one came anywhere near to club them because we were broadcasting. We would show it. So we saved about 100,000 baby harp seals from being clubbed to death.
Do people still club seals, or has it stopped since?
It stopped. It stopped several years ago. I think all that we did and all the information that was raised there about it finally got it to stop.
In the Sea Shepherd, why did you decide to join? Why didn't you send someone to the Sea Shepherd, like for someone else to be there?
Good question. Because I believe when you're involved in a charity, you should personally get involved and know what it's all about. The Sea Shepherd seemed like such a great thing to save whales, dolphins, turtles, and even sharks on the open seas, to save them, that I should see what it's all about. So I took my daughter, and she and I lived on that Sea Shepherd in the Bay of St. Lawrence for 7 days, approximately. And we stopped about 100,000 baby harp seals from being clubbed to death for their furs.
So the Sea Shepherd, would you like to go back to it right now?
I'm still involved with the Sea Shepherd. I'm one of their biggest contributors. In fact, a couple of years ago, they were trying to protect sharks. But the poachers that were killing the sharks had faster boats. So I went out and I bought them a United States of America Coast Guard cutter that was for sale. So and we painted it with blue camouflage on it. In fact, they named the ship the John Paul DeJoria after me, so they could run down and catch all these poachers.
How did you get over the death of your brother? and Paul Mitchell?
You betcha. When my brother died, he was 29 years old, and we were very, very close. In fact, in foster care, when I was in foster care for a few years in my life, he was like my best friend in the world, and always was. And it was difficult. It was very, very difficult. I could feel it. Obviously, I cried a lot. But then I realized that we are not the body. There's a soul in our body. We don't die, guys. Okay, your body will die, but you will go on to another type of life. You will go on. And the more I realized that for that 29 years that I was with my brother, it was nothing but wonderful. You know, he was the greatest guy in the world, and eventually we all died. And I got over after a while. Do I still miss him? Do I wish he was alive? Of course I do. However, these things do happen in life. When Paul Mitchell died, my partner, it was very upsetting too. He was one of my best buddies, and he had pancreatic cancer. So he had a operation that removed his spleen, his gallbladder, and his pancreas, and he should have died within 3 months after the operation, but he lasted almost 1 year. And of course, I felt the loss of my friend, but at the same time, I realized we must all go on in life. Another lesson I'd like you all to learn too, it's a good time in your life to learn it, is don't carry on your back rejection, hate, get even, or I'm jealous. Whenever you have and you think about not liking somebody or hating somebody or regretting, I wish I would have done this differently, or being jealous of somebody else, don't think about that anymore. Because what you're thinking about is what happened in the past. You cannot change yesterday's newspapers. And if ever it enters your mind, just say, hey, to yourself, that's not me. That happened in the past. I can't change it. And you move forward with more of a positive attitude. But I want to say it was a real pleasure speaking to all of you here. Maybe sometime in the future we'll do this again. But remember in life, think positive. Don't think negative. Think about good things. And if somebody ever gossips with you about bad things, change the subject to something good. So to all you children, and you're the future of America, I give you peace, I give you love, and I give you happiness.